Hey y'all, it's me again. I'm going to be continuing reading from my book, Immigrant Enterprise. With family economic security foremost, immigrants adapted their traditional values to the necessities of their new country, making pragmatic choices at every stage. The vast majority of immigrants worked for wages, pulling the wages of men, women, and children, and the money earned from home manufacturing, laundering, and borders. During the Progressive Era, only a few recent immigrants could write and speak English well enough to qualify for white-collar office or department store jobs, and a modest number became independent farmers. Some chose another alternative and became peddlers or shopkeepers. Although department stores, chain stores, and catalog companies offered a wide array of goods to more and more Americans, opportunities remained for petty merchants, which some immigrants seized. Peddling required little or no capital. A distributor, usually a fellow countryman, supplied a newcomer with goods which the peddler paid for after he had sold them. In cities with large immigrant populations, peddling did not require a working knowledge of English, since one could sell to fellow immigrants from a pushcart or by going from apartment to apartment. Eastern European Jews, Italians, Greeks, Irishmen, and Armenians dominated big city peddling. The New York Tribune reported in 1898 that recently landed immigrants are advised by their friends to take a pushcart until they can establish themselves in some business. A Jewish immigrant in New York went to the factory where the tinware was made, and a man gave me a basket filled with a variety of tinware. I felt happy that I had become a businessman. I went back to my lodging, feeling that I might become a big businessman. Perhaps even a tinware manufacturer. Immigrant women and children also sometimes tended pushcarts. Other immigrants peddled in small towns and rural areas across America, carrying goods purchased from a countryman on their backs or in horse-drawn wagons. In the mid-19th century, Central European Jews dominated the trade. By the turn of the century, most peddlers were Syrian immigrants, even though as late as 1908, people reported encountering Irish and Swedish peddlers, which I both am, and 5% Irish and 25.5% Swedish. Peddlers in the prairie states. The daughter of Francis Abraham Moody, I think that's how you say it, recalled that her father's 200-pound pack consists of dry goods, mostly cut yardage, and clothing, shirts, work clothing, socks, pants, and underwear. He also carried a hand grip which held combs, thread, needles, shaving soap, straight razors, and just about all the non-toiletries thought farm folks would need. Experienced peddlers taught novices the trade, and shopkeepers provided the recent arrivals with goods on credit. An early Syrian immigrant, Salim Bashara, supplied new immigrant peddlers from a store in Fort Wayne, Indiana. One newcomer upon arrival in New York showed Salim's name and address to an interpreter who put us on the train. Salim met us. A relative remembered that those who had been here a month or two would teach them a few words, to knock on the door and say, "Buy something, ma'am," or how to say they were hungry and needed a place to sleep. While distributors imported some of the goods from the old country, Syrian women in America sued or imported many of the items sold. Why did so many immigrants take up either city or long distance peddling? Peddlers face hard work and long hours. Established shopkeepers who disliked the competition condemned them. Reformers complained that pushcart operators cluttered busy city streets. Police officers who enforced anti-peddling ordinances shook them down and thieves stole from them. Nonetheless, peddling offered economic opportunities for those who could sell. Many peddlers dreamed of opening a store, and some succeeded. Moreover, peddling offered great autonomy than wage labor. Unlike factory workers, Jewish peddlers could observe the Sabbath and religious holidays without penalty. Small businesses offer immigrants these same advantages. Sorry, just have my cat Char here, and and he wants to play with my hair tie, 'cause he likes to, 'cause he's weird like that, right, Char? So, where was I? Okay, small businesses offered immigrants these same advantages on a greater scale. Numerous immigrant enterprises, including kosher butcher shops and bakeries, Irish and German saloons, and ethnic grocers, provided goods or services unavailable elsewhere. Immigrants often preferred to buy American products from countrymen. An early 20th century study of immigrant adaptation noted the Jewish woman in New York buys a steamship ticket for her sister in Russia from a ticket peddler who collects 50 cents a week. The Polish laborer deposits his money with the saloon keeper, and this peddler or saloon keeper will eventually become a joint steamship agent, banker, employment agent, real estate agent, etc. These ethnic businesses, protected from mainstream competition, make immigrant neighborhoods distinctive places where newcomers found comfortable, enhancing the economic security and personal autonomy of the proprietor. Proprietor. Ugh, that word is always hard for me to say. I don't know why. Sometimes immigrant entrepreneurs, building on relationships with their countrymen, carved out a special niche in the American economy. Some Norwegian immigrants, for example, owned and worked in Brooklyn businesses catering to Norwegian merchant ships. Greek immigrants opened confectionery shops and restaurants. A number of Eastern European Jews who worked in the garment industry became small clothing manufacturers. Immigrants from Asia relied especially on small enterprises because white employers refused to hire them for all but the most menial jobs. Congress excluded almost all new Chinese immigrants in 1882, and hostility to Chinese laborers who had initially worked in railroad construction, mining, and other activities in rural areas of the West forced them to cluster in urban Chinatowns. About 40% of the San Francisco Chinese in these years worked as merchants and shopkeepers, serving both Chinese residents and outsiders who went to Chinatown for exotic foods and imported goods. Even in the smaller inland towns, Chinese shopkeepers ran restaurants, groceries, and laundries. Chinese laborers found work largely in these Chinese-owned service enterprises. By 1920, 58% worked in service occupation, compared with only 10% of white immigrants. A Chinese laundry worker explained that the work was very hard, but there was nothing else to do. This is the kind of life we have to take in America. Japanese immigrants worked initially as laborers when they began arriving on the mainland in the 1880s, but many quickly established small businesses. By 1909, between 3,000 and 3,500 Japanese immigrants in the West operate hotels and boarding houses, restaurants, barber shops, pool rooms, tailor shops, supply stores, shoemaker shops, and laundries. Some also fish for abalone, a delicacy in Japan, drying and canning it for sale back home. Most Japanese immigrants became self-employed farmers, however. In the, in the 1890s, some began cultivating sugar beets, beans, potatoes, hops, and other fruits and vegetables, initially for a fixed wage and then for a fixed share of the crop. Having earned a little money, they leased land and eventually bought it outright. In 1909, Japanese-run farms produced 18% of the value of Los Angeles County farm products on just 1.5% of farmland, typically selling the produce to Japanese dealers. Nativists, fearful of Japanese progress in agriculture and business, won passage of the California Alien Land Act of 1913, prohibiting foreigners from owning land in the state. Since Congress had banned the naturalization of Asian immigrants, the authors of the new law expected it to keep Japanese immigrants from owning land. But Japanese parents circumvented the law by placing title to the land in the names of their children born on American soil who became citizens at birth. In the 7 years following the passage of the Alien Land Law, Japanese owned land tripled. For European immigrants, self-employment offered an alternative to wage labor in factories and mines. For Chinese and Japanese immigrants, largely excluded from those occupations, entrepreneurship remained the only significant avenue to the economic security and autonomy. Please rate, comment, and subscribe down below. And if you're on TikTok, please follow and like. Bye! And by the way, here's my cat. Cha-cha. Bye.